Your Excellency, Deputy Prime Minister, ministers, ambassadors, distinguished guests, and participants of the East African Association of Paleoanthropologists and Paleontologists, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Ethiopia, the land of origins, where every soul finds its home. We are gathered here today to kick off the 50th anniversary celebration of one of the most significant discoveries in paleoanthropology, the discovery of Dinkinesh, commonly known as Lucy. Lucy's discovery was a groundbreaking event that captivated both the scientific community and the world at large, providing invaluable insights into the evolution of life on Earth. It answered many questions while prompting new inquiries that continue to drive research and exploration. I would like to take this opportunity to recognize the presence here today of Professor Donald Johansen, who discovered Lucy in 1974. Thank you, Professor, for joining us. I also would like to recognize one of esteemed scientists, Professor Johannes, who have discovered 4 out of 13 discoveries. ከድንቅነሽ ቀጥሎ ድንቅ የኢትዮጵያ ምሁር ስለሆነ ልናመሰግነው ይገባል። The discovery has fueled countless academic papers, documentaries, and educational programs. It even lent a name to NASA's mission inspiring a new generation of scientists in quest of knowledge and discovery of space. Museums and exhibitions dedicated to Lucy have become cultural landmarks, drawing visitors from all corners of the globe. As we launch this anniversary, it is important to recognize that Africa as a continent is the origin of humanity. It is where it all began. Yet, in the story of human origin, Ethiopia stands out. So, as a continent, we believe that we are the origin of humankind, but there are special findings in Ethiopia. It would be excellent for those who have interest to come and to visit this amazing country. According to the science of evolution, humans have been evolving for more than 6 million years. During this time, more than 20 species of early human ancestors have emerged and disappeared. Ethiopia has been a key site for major discoveries in this field, including 13 of the 22 known hominian species, providing a nearly complete fossil record spanning over 7 million years. Additionally, the numerous stone tools that have been found in Ethiopia provide insights into the use of early human tools as positions Ethiopia as a birthplace of early technological and cultural evolution. This comprehensive record of ancient life undoubtedly establishes Ethiopia as the origin of humankind. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Ethiopia is the birthplace of many remarkable contributions. It is the origin of coffee, one of the world's most cherished beverage, and it's home to the source of the Blue Nile, a river that has nourished ancient civilizations and shaped history. The country also has 17 tangible and intangible UNESCO World Heritage, highlighting its rich cultural and historical legacy. Additionally, Ethiopia has been a beacon of freedom and independence, inspiring the rise of Pan-Africanism and establishing Addis Ababa as a diplomatic capital of Africa. Hence, Ethiopia's contributions to the world are clearly marked in the realm of culture, history, and intellectual thought. Recognizing our country's exceptional natural assets, the government has placed emphasis on tourism, viewing it as a key driver of the country's economic prosperity. Over the past 5 years, we have made significant strides in developing the sector by investing heavily in the tourism infrastructure and creating eco-friendly and sustainable new destinations through the DINE initiatives. We are expanding our offerings. These newly developed sites exemplify our commitment to sustainable tourism, aiming to place Ethiopia on every traveler's bucket list. Visitors can explore the cradle of humanity and immerse themselves in the rich cultural heritage that have flourished here for millennia. In closing, let us remember that Lucy is not just a relic of the past. She stands testimony of Ethiopia's place at the origin of humanity. እንደ ፕሮፌሰር ዮሐንስ ያሉ ጀግና ተመራማሪዎች ካሉ ተጨማሪ ግኝት እንደሚገኝም በተስፋ መናገር ይቻላል። As we look ahead, we should remember that Lucy's story is far from finished and there remains much more to learn. Finally, I would like to thank all of you for coming to celebrate Lucy. I wish you a successful event where new connections are made, knowledge and expertise are exchanged, and scientific research and education equip future generations with the tools and insights needed to build upon the foundation we have set. Once again, I extend a heartfelt invitation to the world to experience the beauty and richness of Ethiopia. I thank you.
This is a great honor to be here and introduce one of the key people in our field, paleoanthropology. Of course, you've heard a little bit from him already, but Professor Donald Johanson, the discoverer of Lucy, the famous fossil skeleton that has been found in Ethiopia, he doesn't really need a lot of introduction because you've already heard a lot about him. But I just want to say that Professor Donald Johanson, because of the discovery of Lucy, founded the Institute of Human Origins in 1981. Now that institute, which I direct now, has been really successful in so many discoveries from the Afar region of Ethiopia. And Professor Johanson has done his share by introducing Lucy to the whole world through different books that he has published for the general public. Not scientific publications, but general books for people who can understand it really easily what Lucy means. So Professor Johanson has been really instrumental, not only in this discovery, but also introducing Lucy to the rest of the world. So he's going to tell you the history behind the discovery, taking you back 50 years ago to 1974. And this is going to be so exciting story to hear. So without further ado, I would like to invite Professor Don Johanson to the stage. Please welcome him with a round of applause. Thank you.
I'm sure if I try to welcome individuals, I'll forget someone. But I want to again welcome the distinguished guests, ministers, diplomats, visiting dignitaries, colleagues, and students, who we've all forgotten, to this really far-reaching few days symposium that we are all so passionately interested in. I was here in January with a group of people visiting, people who have a very deep interest in human origins, who not necessarily scientists, but people who have been instrumental in helping support the science, whether it's the training of Ethiopian students, African students, research, buying vehicles, helping equip the museum, or whatever. And during that visit, I traveled around the country. I was down in the Omo region for a while. I went up to Samara, to the university, which was quite extraordinary. It's in Samara, where they are building a university, where they are beginning to teach paleoanthropology, and down to Hadar, where I met a lot of old friends, mostly Afar people I've known for many, many years. And what I was most overwhelmed by was the universal interest among Ethiopians in, they don't know it as paleoanthropology, but knowing something about their past. And they are particularly honored by knowing that the world looks towards Ethiopia for an understanding of how we became human. They're very proud of this. They talk about Dinknesh or Lucy very often. And when I visited the very spot where the first bones of Lucy were found way back in 1974, I thought to myself, wow, what if she knew that this would be such a triumph, not only for Africa, but in fact for all humankind. I had the great disappointment when I went to visit her, because she hasn't changed a day since her discovery, but when I look in my mirror in the morning and shave, I see that 81 years has certainly changed me. The other thing is that I was particularly impressed with the fact that people are interested from the top government levels right down to an individual who maybe be a shoeshine boy in front of the museum or whatever. They take great pride in all of this. And I think it's very important for us as scholars who sit in laboratories, go out on field expeditions, discover evidence as to our origins, but also to know that it's very important to all of us to know our origins. We all like to know where we came from individually. And a very rabid anti-colonialist by the name of Marcus Garvey, that may be familiar to you, said a people without the knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots. And that's what our study does for people. As I look out on this gathering of scholars who have widely divergent ideas, you know how contentious our field can be, we're all united really by one passionate commitment to answering one of the most captivating questions that we can ask as a species. How did we become human? We're the only species we know of on this planet that is capable of asking this question. The only species in our solar system, maybe within the universe, that can not only ask that question, where did we as humans come from, but go out, discover, collect, interpret evidence to explain the path of what I like to call the human career. Today, the landscape of paleoanthropology in Ethiopia is strikingly different from 1970, when I first came here. The late F. Clark Howell, well known to many of you, one of the great architects of how paleoanthropology is done, invited me to join the International Omo Research Expedition American contingent as an excavator. Everyone on the expedition wanted to go out and find fossils and survey and find that unique skull or mandible or whatever, but nobody seemed to want to do excavation. And my background had been a lot of excavation in archaeology. And he invited me to join that expedition in the summer of 1970. And at that time, we had to stage ourselves in a foreign country, in Kenya. an arduous 3 or 4 day drive, depending on the level of the rivers, and bring out all the fossils we found out of Ethiopia and ship them from Kenya to scholars around the world. Well, fortunately today, that's very different. Through the remarkable efforts of the Ethiopian government, the Ethiopian Heritage Authority, and the Ministry of Culture, this is no longer necessary. Fossils found in Ethiopia stay in Ethiopia. That's extraordinarily important. They are protected in a several-story research building in Addis, where there are storage facilities, modern storage facilities to care for and look after and protect these specimens, and secure laboratories in which to work on these fossils. Welcoming scholars from around the world, this open-door policy has really changed everything. Qualified researchers are welcome to study and analyze Ethiopia's rich paleontological abundance. The National Museum of Ethiopia, where we had our gathering yesterday afternoon, continues to spark worldwide interest. Almost every single tourist who comes to Addis Ababa, to Ethiopia, will go to the National Museum, and they will go and see the excellent exhibition on human origins. Just before we began this morning, I had about 20 minutes or so with the Prime Minister with the exhibit, and I urge you all to look at that. That's been put together just outside these doors of the major discoveries over the last 6 million years. And this is terribly important that these fossils are looked after not only, but made available to anyone and everyone who's interested in human origin. The other thing is that when I first began working here in southern Ethiopia in 1970, there was not a single native-born Ethiopian scholar. There was not a trained Ethiopian curator. There was not adequate storage facilities. Today, we see, and you have heard from the minister himself, that there's an increasing number of scholars born and raised in Ethiopia who are trained and who are making landmark discoveries and are participating on the front line of this research by getting their own permits for their own research area, finding funding for their own research teams, putting their own research teams together, making their own discoveries, describing these discoveries, publishing themselves, these discoveries. The situation is totally different from what we saw when I first came here in 1970. Unbelievably gratifying to me, and I hope to all of you. It is significant that the slogan for Ethiopia for many, many years had been 13 months of sunshine. I knew Haile Selassie, who was a wonderful man and started the tourism society. And when I would stay in a hotel, when I would have the privilege of staying in the hotel, in the Hilton, for example, every morning he came to the Hilton and he would go from table to table and he would talk to people about Ethiopia and how wonderful it was and share his personal insights. And of course, there was a very dark period during Mengistu's regime. And he was locked in the basement of the palace and he could hear the generals upstairs. And when I asked him, what was it like? He said, yeah, I was at the university, because he taught people how to speak French, how to speak Italian. He was the most optimistic man I ever have met in my entire life under the most severe and depressing conditions. This is what people see when they collect their baggage at the airport. This new slogan that was put together by Otto Zurai and Johannes, Land of Origins. And we saw a lovely little video about that. It is indeed the land of origins. The Prime Minister, and it's true, whether it's a cup of buna in the morning or a new fossil that's announced or Coptic Christianity or whatever. It has a lot to be proud of, this great country of Ethiopia. But I mean, I always take Ethiopian coffee home with me, and I have a taste of Ethiopia every single morning. So this is what people see today. And it is a very meaningful slogan for this country because of so many firsts that happened in Ethiopia and shaped modern civilization in many ways.
In 2005, paleoanthropologists and paleontologists from Eastern Africa, who were conscious that Africa, and most specifically Eastern Africa, is the cradle of mankind, established this association. The main mission of the association is to strengthen research in prehistory in the region and to unite the intellectual exercise and dialogue of scholars. With this intent, they held the first conference in 2007 in Nairobi. In the years that followed, scholars all over the world joined the association, and it became an international platform of scholars who are curious to know where we came from. After 2 decades of its establishment, here we are, convened in the 9th biennial conference in the land of origins. To tell the achievements of the association and the contribution of every scholar to the advancement of knowledge in the evolution of humanity for the many millennia in the past, in the presence of so many gurus, will be like telling the choir. Let the research that you made and published speak that to the world. However, I would like to reiterate that your dedication in quest of our distant past has led to 50 years of unparalleled discovery, which made the region to be known as the cradle of humanity. The Eastern African Association of Paleoanthropologists and Paleontologists is a young one compared to other similar associations and societies. Despite its worldwide membership, it has limitations in many aspects. It is my hope that, in addition to the usual intellectual dialogue, this session of the association will make a rigorous discussion on the limitations of the association and pave the way for a better future of research in the region. The need for grooming young scholars who will follow your footsteps and legacy is one among the many issues which need immediate attention. So is the need for strengthening partnerships with various institutions in the 5 states and globally. Finally, allow me to express my sincere appreciation and gratitude to the Ethiopian Ministry of Tourism, the Mayor Office of Addis Ababa, the Adwa Victory Memorial Center, and many other institutions and individuals who contributed for the realization of this conference on behalf of my institution. I hope your stay in Ethiopia will be full of joy and excitement. I wish you a successful conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much.